Hi everyone, this is Christine Josty from Mail Something Pretty, and I was recently asked by a couple people the difference between the Stampin' Write markers and the Blends markers. So I thought I would hop on and show you kind of the benefits of both because they're very different from each other. So I'm going to do this in a two-part video. So this one is on the Stampin' Write markers. And this is what they look like. They come in packs of like the color families, or I guess they call them color collections now. So in the catalog, you can buy sets according to the color family. So you can get neutral markers are set for 30, or the Brights collection, and then the subtles and the regals. Mine are all kind of mixed up because I bought them all. Or you can actually get them. You can buy all of them for a whole kit. And if you're ever in an opportunity to get a 50% off item from like a hostess party, or if you're part of a club, this is a great way to get them all at half price. So I just wanted to show you some of the benefits of the Stampin' Write markers. I really like using the blends, but there's still a purpose for using these, and that's what I wanted to show you. Okay, so I'm going to move these aside. I'm going to show you a couple different techniques I do with them. The first one, I'll just show you the stamp sets I'm using, but you can use them on all sorts of stamps. This one's from the barn door, and I'm going to use the wreath. And I like to color directly on the stamp. So you cannot do this with blends. You cannot do this with like Sharpie, any alcohol-based marker. You cannot do this. But these are water-based, and so they work. So this is, I think it's a Mossy Meadow green. I'm just coloring directly right on that red rubber. And then I'm going to take my red, and you may have noticed I have washi tape here. I should have pointed out, actually, there's two different tips on each marker. There's a brush tip and a pen tip, and it says it's a 0.5 millimeter. I tend to use really just the brush tip, and so I put washi tape on there so I don't have to keep checking it. So it's just a little tip for your tip. All right, so I'm going to color my red. And if you had another stamp that needed more colors, you can keep building all the different colors. And so, oh, I missed a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to huff on it, which means I'm just going to bring it to my mouth and I'm going to blow some air, some moisture on it, because as you're coloring the different colors, it may dry a little bit, and so by huffing and re-moisting the stamp, it brings, you know, the liquid and the ink back to the vitality of it is. So, and then you just stamp, and there you go. So you get a two-tone or two-tone for the one stamp. And so I really like this technique, and this is probably the most, I use these markers for this technique the most, I guess, out of all of the markers. The other thing you can do, you can, oh, I'm connected, so let's see, I'm going to disconnect myself for a second. A little bit because I have sunlight coming in here, and my ink pad was just too far away. The other thing you can do is actually just do a direct color. So for these markers, it doesn't matter. You can use any kind of ink. I'll tell you later on in the blends that you need to use a certain ink. So you can just, you know, color as you normally would. For small images, I think this is fine. If you are going to use a larger image, then I think the blends lend itself better. Let's do the leaf. But for the little images, these work out great. Now, you may notice my brush tip, it's not perfectly pointed. That's kind of a dark green for that leaf. I meant to do the other one. So you just have to be careful when you color, just color lightly, and so you don't bend your tips. All right, and the third technique I wanted to show you with these, I'm going to use my Stampin' pad because I'm using a photopolymer stamp set. And this stamp set is Broadway Birthday, and we'll use the Wish. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to color directly onto the stamp. I'm going to do it in a graduated or like an ombre effect. So, and you can see that this stamp is pink because the photopolymers tend to stain when you use reds and pinks. It doesn't, it just stains the stamp. It does not ruin it. It just makes it so you really can't see what you're doing right now. But this is kind of a light blue. So what I've also found is when I'm going to do this on photopolymer, sometimes it works better when you have to do it twice, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I'm just using the first color, I think was Pool Party. This is Bermuda Bay, and I'm just kind of doing a stripe down the middle. You might be able to see this a little bit. I'm going to just coloring right on the stamp. And the last one, this is, I think it's, I don't know if it's Pacific Point or Island Indigo. It's just a darker blue, so I grabbed it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to huff on it. And I'm going to stamp. So what you may see, it might not be perfect. It's not so bad on the bottom, but this top blue is a little not as solid as I would like it, because it's whatever the texture is of the polymer, it doesn't always receive the ink as well. But even though I stamped that once, there's probably still a little residue or like a film left on it. So when I do it again, it should work better. But the red rubbers definitely work better for this technique, but you can just kind of play with it with the polymer ones. Yeah, it's even going on a little smoother. And the last color. Huff. Let's see if it does a better job. Yeah, I think it is a better job. And you'll see, so it's somewhat of an ombre. When I use the blend, you're going to see I can blend better. It's just a different type of marker, and they have different benefits. But that's kind of the techniques, right? And you can also use them, let's see, sometimes my, to write. Sometimes my, the little fine tips tend to dry out a little faster. So I could write my name. So you can write with them, you can color as a regular marker, you can color directly onto the stamp. You get 2-tone or 3-tone or 4-tone depending on your colors, and then you can kind of make this little ombre effect. So that, I'm trying to think if there's any other, but that's kind of what I use these for. So this is the Stampin Write marker. And I will make another video on the Stampin Blends. So thank you very much for watching, and be sure to check out my website, Mail Something Pretty, and add yourself to my mailing list because I'd love to be in contact with you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.